YouTube video. In our last video, we have started chapter 2 New Kingdoms, and what we have seen in that video, we have seen the Rajput and their origin. Who was the Rajput and how they established their own empire in India, and rivalry between the religious power. There were three main families, there were three main powers, and that was the Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakuta. This was the main, this were the three main families. They were always clashes with each other to conquer the Kannauj city, to conquer the Kannauj cities. So, then in detail also we have learned about the Palas, Rashtrakutas and the Chahamanas means Chauhans. Then administration during this period, that is the administration during the medieval period, and how the new kings and their kingdom established their own kingdom over there in that particular period. This also we have learned in our last video. How was the social life in that period? This also we learned. Now it's time to see, and the king, what was the king position, and this also we learn about their armies, about the king, what was their importance and what was their position in that period. This also we have learned. Now today we are going to see the economy and the inventions in India. Today we are going to see the economy and invention in India. So let's see the economy. Agriculture was the main occupation of the people. In the medieval period, we can see the agriculture was the main and the first occupation for living the life. The village community played an important role. That means the villages. Right now also we can see the villages. Most of the time the villages. So the agriculture was the main occupation to living the life in the medieval period. The most of the villagers just prefer to do the farming, and they work hard in their farms. So the agriculture by growing the fruits, vegetables and grains in their farm, this was the main and important agriculture occupation to that period. Trade with Southeast Asia, China and Mediterranean, the western world flourished during this period. So the people is having the king and kingdom is having the trade relation with another kingdom. They were having the trade relation with the another kingdom, and they used to do the business, and they were doing the deal with each other during the medieval period. The main export were textiles, spices and precious stones. That means what the Indian people were used to export. They export the textiles, spices, jewels and the ivories. That means the precious stone also the export of the part. Then horses, precious metal and store were imported. That means from we can import it. They used to import the horses, precious metal and store. The king were imported from the another kingdom. That means if there are the Indian kingdoms were having the trade relation with the another kingdom, those who were living at the Southeast Asia, China and the Western world. So they were just dealing with each other. Some things the Indian kingdom used to give them, or the foreigners give to the Indian kingdoms. That time the export were the textiles, spices and precious stones were exported that time, and the imported things were the horses, precious metal and stones were imported in that period. We also have information about the merchant from India visiting Baghdad and other countries of West India. There were some merchants also. Merchant means the Vyapari, small business. Those who are doing their own small business, it is called merchant. So that time the merchant was also there in and other countries of West India. There was a trade within the the North South India. Here also the same thing is given. So the merchant is also having the trade relation with the another kingdom. Merchant from this kingdom and the merchant from the another kingdom, they were also having the trade relation with each other. The merchant were wealthy and operated through the guilds called Shrenis. That means the merchant was very wealthy that time because they were having the trade relation with the foreigners also. So they were very wealthy. They were having much money. They were the rich. So the merchant is having their own one group. They were having their own group and they were very rich. That's why their group was called Shrenis. Their merchant groups was called Shrenis. The Shrenis held important post in the city administration and they have a great position. They have a great status in the society. They had a great status in the society because they were having the trade relation with the another countries and they were very wealthy. So the merchant group was separated and this group was called the Shrenis. This group was called the Shrenis and they have very important position in the society and in the administration status. Since the Rajput clans were many and controlled small principalities, each king issued his own coins. We have seen how the Rajput origin and they were descended from the Chandravanshi and Suryavanshi. So the Rajput clans, they have so many clans. Rajput have so many different families and all the kings and the different clans established and they issued their own coins. They issued their own coins. That means there were so many Rajput clans. There were so many Rajput clans and they all established and issued their own coin to show their own existence. Now here the economy. In economy we have seen the agriculture, the farming is the main occupation of the villagers and they used to do the farming. Like they were growing the seeds, vegetables, fruit, grains, these types of things they were growing in their farm. Even the trade relation, some kings, Indian king was having the trade relation with the another kingdom. So the import and export business was also there. So in the export thing, the textiles, spices, shells and ivory was exported that time in the medieval period and the imported thing was the precious metals, stones and the horses were imported. So the merchant was also there. Merchant's position was also very great and very important in that period because the merchant was also having the trade relation with the another in the foreigner countries. So and they were very wealthy. So the merchant group was called as the Shrenis because they were very rich and they were having much money. Now the invasion in India. Invasion means Akraman. How many peoples attacked on India? We'll see now. So the first one is Mahmud of Ghazni. We have seen that the northern India was in the state of constant strife. Strife means always the attack. Strife means sangharsh and attack. So we have seen in northern India there were the continuously there were the fights were there in the two kingdoms. Always we have seen that until the 12th century CE. In the 12th century we can see in the northern India always there were the clash between the two kingdoms. There were always we have seen the clashes between two kings or between their armies. The Turkish king Sabuktagin was the ruler of Ghazni. Who was the ruler? Who was the king of the Ghazni? The Turkish king Sabuktagin. You can underline that Turkish king Sabuktagin was the ruler of Ghazni. Was the ruler of Ghazni. In present, it was called Afghanistan. In present day, it was called. In the medieval period, the Afghanistan was calling Ghazni. But in this period, in this modern period, we call that Ghazni is known as Afghanistan. So, who was the ruler? Was the Afghanistan? The Turkish king Sabukdagin was the ruler of Afghanistan in the 12th century, and he defeated Raja Jaipal, the Rajput ruler, and Rajput ruler of the Bhatinda. And in the fight, in the clash, he defeated and he won the fight, and he defeated and he conquered the Bhatinda city, and he defeated Raja Jaipal and Rajput. He defeated Raja Jaipal and Rajput, and he owned the Bhatinda, who the Turkish king Sabukdagin. Turkish king Sabukdagin defeated Raja Jaipal and Rajput, and he won the Bhatinda in 991 century. When Sabukdagin died in 997 century, he was succeeded by his son. Then he also fought with many kings and kingdom, and he defeated another kings, and he conquered many cities and states. Then finally the Sabukdagin died. He was finally Sabukdagin died, but he was succeeded by his son. So Sabukdagin was one son, and his son throne on in the place of him. So he was succeeded by his son Mahmud. What was the name of his son? Sabukdagin's son was Mahmud. Mahmud was the son of Sabukdagin, but Sabukdagin died. Then who was working in the place of the Sabukdagin? Mahmud, the son of Sabukdagin Mahmud. He was very much interested in building a large empire in Central Asia. Mahmud had learned about the enormous wealth of India. So Mahmud was very much fascinated about the wealth of India. He was learned about the enormous wealth of India. So he just want to get all the wealth, all the money from the India, all the gold, cash and everything. He just wanted to catch that all things, and he was just fascinated to the money and to fascinated of wealth of India. So he was interested in building a large empire, and by conquering and by getting all the money and all the gold from India, and what he wanted, he just wanted to establish his huge and large empire. After his father's death, Sabukdagin's death, the son Mahmud wanted to establish a huge and large empire, and he was also learned many things in the books, and he has read the many things in the book about the wealth of India, So he was very much fascinated to get the wealth from the India. So encouraged by this, he attacked India 70 times between 1001 century and 1027 century. So he just wanted to get all the money, all the wealth from India. So encouraged by these things, he attacked 17 times on India. He attacked 17 times on India. Mahmud attacked 17 times in India because he just wanted to catch all the money and wealth from India, and he was very much interested to set up his own empire. So he invaded palaces like Multan, Peshawar, Kangra, Thaneshwar, Kanauj, Mathura, Gwalior, Somnath, Kashmir and Punjab. You underline that all the cities that where he was attacked, the Mahmud attacked on the places like Multan, Peshawar, Kangra, Thaneshwar, Kanauj, Mathura, Gwalior, Somnath, Kashmir and Punjab, because these cities were very wealthy according to the Mahmud. In that period, these cities which is given in the textbook, these cities were very wealthy, because in the temple there are lots of so many gold and cash. The cash was there, so he just wanted to attack on the temples, and he wanted to catch all the money and wealth and gold, everything from the temples, and he just wanted to set up his own empire by catching this all wealth and money from the Indian temples. So he attacked the place like Multan, Peshawar, Kangra, Taneshwar, Kanauj, Mathura, Gwalior, Somnath, Kashmir and Punjab. Mahmud did not want to rule over India. His invasion were undertaken purely to capture India's wealth. That means Mahmud was not interested. His father was very much interested and he ruled on India. But Mahmud, Sabahuddin's son, Mahmud was not interested in ruling in India. He was just interested in money. He was just interested in money of India, but he didn't want to rule on India. So he just attacked on the places. He just attacked on the temples where he can get the cash and wealth and to set up his own empire. So he did not want to rule over India, but his invention were undertaken purely to capture the India's wealth. During his reign, he attacked wealthy temples. So in his mind, in Mahmud's mind, he just thinking that he just wanted to take all the money and all the wealth from the India. He didn't want to rule and he didn't want to set up his own kingdom in India. He just want to capture all the money from India. So what he did, he attacked on the wealthy temples in India. He attacked on wealthy temples and took the booty of Ghazni, and he took all the monies and everything from the temples. He beautified Ghazni, his stately places, mosques, colleges, palaces, mosques, colleges and storm. Now what he did in Afghanistan, by catching all the money and all the wealth from the Indian temples, he beautified his own state, Afghanistan. What he did, he set up their beautiful palaces, mosques, colleges and storm. Because Mahmud didn't want to rule on India, he just wanted to catch all the money, and then he attacked on the wealthy temples in India and he got all the monies and wealth from the India. And what he did, and then he took that all the money to Afghanistan, and in his whole empire what he established, he beautified the Ghazni, Afghanistan with stately places. He built there very beautiful places, mosques, colleges and storm, and some several scholars lived in his court. In his kingdom, there were some scholars people there also. He got all the money and wealth from the India, then he went to his own Afghanistan and he established their beautiful palaces, mosque, college, school, this everything he did there, he set up there. But there were some scholars people also in his kingdom. There were some scholar people is also available there in his kingdom. The most notable being Al-Biruni and Firadausi. That means there were two books, Al-Biruni and Firadausi. Firadausi, two writers were there, Al-Biruni and Firadausi. Two scholars were there in his court. We have seen in his court, in Mahmud's court in Afghanistan, there were such a scholar people also there. So in that scholar people, Al-Biruni and Firadausi was also there. So what Firadausi did? Firadausi wrote a Shahnama, the biography of Mahmud. He has written, Firadausi written the biography Shahnama, the biography named Shahnama, and he has written that biography on Mahbub. Al-Biruni wrote extensively about Indian people in his book Tahqiq-e-Hind, and Al-Biruni has written one biography, Tahqiq-e-Hind, and what he has written in that biography, he has written the Indian people, how they were living, the socialization condition of the Indian people. This everything he has written in his biography. And what was the biography of Al-Biruni? Tahqiq-e-Hind. And Firdausi has written the Shahnama biography about Mahmud. So these two were the most scholar people of the court of the Ghazni. Mahmud's attack devastated northern India and paved the way for future invasion. Now what Mahmud did? Mahmud attacked and devastate. Devastate means he destroyed. तबाह कर देना. He devastated the northern India. Again, after capturing all the wealth and all the wealth from the Indian temple, what he did again? Again he attacked on India. Again Mahmud attacked on India and he destroyed the northern India. He destroyed the northern India and made his way for future invention. And he made his way to get more wealth from the India. So he destroyed the northern India. After his death in 1030 century, his successor showed no interest in India. He conquered, he got very well, he got so many wealth, cash and gold from the India, and he took this all the wealth in Afghanistan and he set up and he beautified his own empire with the help of Indian cash, Indian wealth. Now again he attacked on India and he destroyed all the northern India. He destroyed northern India. But after his death, no one was interested in India. Then first his father Sabuk-Taghin died. Then after Sabuk-Taghin, who handled all the empire, his son Mahmud handled his own empire. Then after Mahmud, no one was interested in Ghazni. So in 1150 century, the Ghurids, the dynasty of Sultan from Ghor, captured the Ghaznavid empire. Then after Mahmud's death, Ghurids captured the Ghaznavid empire. Lahore, the last stronghold of empire, was annexed by the Muhammad Ghori. Then Muhammad Ghori came there. After Mahmud's death, after the Mahmud death, who was conquered everything, the Muhammad Ghori was there. Muhammad Ghori was there in the beginning, the rule of this dynasty to end. When Muhammad Ghori captured the Ghaznavid empire, Afghanistan empire, who captured them? Muhammad Ghori. He conquered, he captured the empire of Afghanistan, and here the Mahmud of Ghazni's stories end. Now who is coming the next? Muhammad Ghori was the next after the Mahmud Ghazni. So you just written this in your notebook, these main points. We'll see what happened next. Now what we have covered in chapter 2 till now, we have covered the Rajput and their origins, the rivalry between the regional powers, Palas, Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas. These families, three families were very powerful, and what about their details? This also we have seen how they established their own empire and how they declined. This also we have seen the Chauhan's family. We have seen the king, what is the position of the king and the armies, about their social life, the main occupation, their economy. This also we have seen. Then invention in India, this also we have seen Muhammad of Ghazni, how he attacked on India and how he set up his own empire and how he beautified his own Afghanistan. This also we have seen. Now, after Mahmud of Ghazni, the Muhammad Ghori was there. Then what Muhammad Ghori did? He attacked on India. What he did? Let's see in our next video. Till then, bye bye. Take care and thank you.